and welcome back to the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by Advantage Home Mortgage. I'm Ben Cason, here with Vern Larson, and we have a guest back again. We've got Cassie Stephens.
Everybody.
She's back. She's back. She's tough to get rid of. She's kind of like, I'm not going to go there.
She was here a few episodes ago talking about her role as a title officer, talking about just everything that comes with titles and land title. What's your official title? You're
I'm the branch manager.
Branch manager at Land Title. Yep.
Yes.
There you go. And so she's, done a whole bunch of great stuff in the mortgage businesses, obviously in the title business. Now we've gone through the process, Vern. Where are we going to next?
We made it. We did it. We went completely through the process. You've got to meet all the great people along the way, why we get all the services we get. And now this morning I looked at my email and I have a clear to close. Those are the three most magical words in lending. So clear to close. That means underwriter signed off. Everything's good. Appraisal's good. Titles is good. So now we get to go have some fun. We get to go get this thing done. All the stress is over. All the headaches are gone. You're actually going to get the keys to that house today. And so we're going to go close. So we're going to talk to Cassie real quick about closings and what the title companies do in that piece of the thing. So what's the first thing happens after I get my clear to close and send you the figures?
So then once we get that, the lender is going to send us the final closing disclosure, and that's where we're going to balance with you. So we're going to make sure we plug in your fees, our fees. We're going to make sure we're paying everybody who needs to be paid, appraisers, inspectors, anything that needs to be paid part of that transaction. That's what we're going to make sure. So we're going to work up that closing disclosure. We're going to prepare those documents.
And so if it's a purchase, they're doing your seller side and the purchaser side, and it all balances. They make sure they pay off all those liens. We talked about Cassie last time with anything, that affects the title commitment and lien. So paying off any liens, any mortgages, any judgments, anything like that. So the seller will get a copy. You won't get to see what's on the seller side. Correct. Obviously, it's not your business if you're buying what they're making. Vice versa. The seller doesn't get to see your side as a buyer. They don't need to know what your, interest rate was, how much you're bringing in, and all those things.
Correct. They're just going to know what's on that contract, and we're going to close according to that, and that's what everybody will see on each side. So they're just going to make sure they get to see their side of things.
So when the numbers are all balanced and we set a time, so the sellers and buyers can each get their own time. Right.
So they'll call in, and everybody, as long as it's mutual, everybody will call in. And normally what we do, we will always take a buyer in first, just for privacy issues, kind of like what you mentioned. We don't need to be sharing social security numbers or private information with anybody. So we'll come in, we'll get the buyer at the closing table, and then we'll present all of our closing documents in front of them. So the documents that were provided, lender documents come directly from the lender, and anything real estate we prepare directly. So we're the scrivener per that contract. So we're preparing according to what the contract says. So then we're going to sit down with the buyer.
And you're going to get assigned this loan package. And Ben, I used to be a few years ago in town. I had the biggest package in town. I mean, it used to be 180 pages. We got her trimmed way down, man. We're like right, what, 103 signatures?
Yes.
Yeah.
103 signatures.
So you're fancy. You're like, it's kind of like, paparazzi's there taking pictures, and then you're signing autographs. So.
You got the fancy pen.
It's so much more fun nowadays with social media than it ever has been. You kind of come in and people would be just so solemn and just so quiet. And if you close at Land Title and you close with Lisa Romo, it's not quiet at all. I can assure you it's one of the most giggliest, loudest, craziest, funnest closings ever. Our other girls are amazing. Truly, we have a great staff with us. But the closing side is super fun. And it kind of also depends on who you're closing with. First-time homebuyers, they're scared. They're scared to death. They're like, oh my God, what are you doing?
What was it like the first time you bought a house?
I was scared to death.
Did you work in title at the time?
No,
No,
I didn't. Not yet. And actually, I don't know if anybody will remember her, but Patty Young was my closer. She's actually retired from Land Title. And but she was my closer. And I just remembered them presenting the documents to me. And I'm like, I have no idea what you just said, but I'll sign my name anyway. So it was scary. It's the unknown. Here you are signing your life away for the next 30 years. And it's a lot. It's overwhelming. So, and then you have the people that have done it a million times and they're like, just let me sign. So, it just kind of depends. You learn to read the person.
Yeah. A lot of time with the first time home buyers, we get through what is your payment?
Right.
How much do you owe? How much are you bringing in? We get through a good handful of the important information before I start cracking my jokes.
Yes.
I have some really good closing jokes. Ben.
He does.
I have.
Give us a preview.
All right, here I'll give you your preview. All right. So you're at the table signing, Ben. All right. So you're getting ready to you're closing, and so then this will be what I'll do. I'll be like, so hey Ben, when are you moving? I'm busy that day.
He says that every time.
Almost every time.
Almost every time, yeah. No, but it's fun and it lightens up the mood and it's fun. It's fun to have a closing and you just want to make it good. You want that very last experience to be the best part about it.
Sure.
So they've been through a lot, these buyers. They've been through grueling lenders, just joking. But, asking for a lot of information and they've never done it before. And why do they need this again? And I already gave that and here's this. And so the whole part about the closing is trying to make it just the best. So you just want everybody to leave just happy and calm and great and ready to take the picture with their keys. And that's the best part.
How do you make the buyer more comfortable in those situations? Like if they come in and they're like really, really nervous and they're getting to sign things, what do y'all do?
I think each of us, and I know in my office, every girl has their unique way of doing things. I've always said you learn to be a chameleon because you have to adapt to them. So you might have some people that totally want just pure explanation. Like they are pure business. Give me the explanation. You have others that you do have a little bit more fun with and some that don't need as much explanation, but you learn to adapt to them. And you, by the first 3-4 documents, I'm going to know. I'm going to know if they need further explanation, more details, or if they just want to have fun.
And I think a big advantage to Advantage is that we go to all of our closings. So it's important to have representation at your closing. If you use a big national lender, obviously somebody from Michigan or whatever can't fly in and come to your closing. I'm right here in town. I put time on my books to be able to go to the closings. I want to be there. If you have a question, if something arises and, hey, what's this form mean? I'm there to explain it. I know the forms, in and out. If you want the forms ahead of time, we have a lot of requests for that. I can send you your whole closing package ahead of time. Hey, review it, go through it, put stickies on it. Let me know if there's anything you have questions and we'll get them addressed. And so, but being there, it helps a lot.
It's so much more helpful for a closer too, just for what Vern said. Because if there is something that is on there or a fee that was on there that maybe they didn't realize or maybe had forgotten, it's so good if Vern or the representation is there to be able to say, hey, don't you remember? Or this is what we had to do. It helps tremendously because as the closer, we are presenting according, again, Scrivener to the contract and presenting loan documents that are provided to us by a lender. So he's truly correct on the ones that, come from out of state or, 800 numbers. Sometimes those are really difficult as a closer to present in case there are questions and we can't get a hold of somebody.
Yeah. So you're saying that most mortgage people are not going to be at the closing.
There's a lot of them that don't come. We're lucky in Pueblo and we're so lucky with Advantage. I don't think I've ever had a closing that Vern's not been at. So
there's been a few. I go on trips every now and then.
But you know what? He'll send in the reinforcements. So he'll send.
Make sure he's taken care of.
Yep. Wow. Truly.
Do realtors usually go as well?
Yes. You know what? I feel in Pueblo we are super lucky. I feel Pueblo's completely unique to the real estate world. We're all just so close here. I really believe that, and most agents do come. I think we have great representation here in Pueblo.
And then when you're done signing, you're going to get a copy of everything you signed. You have your choice nowadays, which is nice.
Yes.
You can get it electronic or you can get a paper copy. There's only, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I'm not an attorney, there's only a few forms in there that are really super important. You need to keep your note. You need to keep your deed of trust.
Right.
But, your settlement statement, because you can possibly use that for tax service. But a lot of the forms in there that you're signing are stuff that you've already signed for me or, that just, authorization to release the information. I understand I'm not in a flood zone, those kind of things. So,
yeah,
a lot of the package isn't super duper important.
Right. And the nice thing is now we're pure scanned in. So at any time, if, 5 years down the line, you misplaced your documents, we have them. at our fingertips. And as long as we can prove that it's you that's calling in, we're going to be glad to send those documents to you. So that's the nice part.
And you're going to get some really useful information at the closing too. So right now, we're all about information, putting it out there. So there's some scams going on that you have to be aware of. So anytime a deed transfer happens, it becomes public record. So they record it, land title, part of their fees is they record it at the courthouse and they record you into title of that new deed of trust. Well, there's people out there that just fish this stuff. And what they're doing is they get a copy of your deed, or know that there's a copy of a deed out there. They send you a bill, not like a thing. They actually send you a bill and it has like the state of Colorado emblem on it. It looks so official, and it's like, you need to send us $81 to get a copy of this deed, and they mail it to you. And if you didn't have somebody at your closing telling you, hey, watch out for this, it's a scam. The reason they're getting away with it, it's a service, because they're going to get you a copy. It costs them $1, and then they're going to mail it to you and charge you $80. So it's a service, so they get away with it. But you don't need it. Anything you sign, we have it. Just ask us. We'll give it to you.
A lot of different scams that go on. So, but I know my closing team, they're very good at explaining that and at least giving that detail. And if we do happen to forget, it's very nice because Vern will step in and help us. And hey, just as a heads up, this might come to you. So we try to take care of each other. And I feel like that's what's really good in a closing too, is we watch out for one another as well.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Most people think I'm just there to look good, Ben. But I pay attention.
There's a purpose.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm not just there for Hollywood,
So for people who've not been to a closing, can you guys talk me through maybe like the whole narrative, what it looks like? Say I've got my house set. I've got Nick as my realtor. I've got Vern as my, mortgage guru. They both are coming in with me. Yeah. I walk into land title. What's my experience like?
Sure. Well, you're going to walk in and, my team is going to greet you and they're going to get you seated in a closing room. We're going to offer whatever we can at the time. A little bit different during COVID.
Sure. No cookies.
No cookies. Sorry, Vern. But we're going to get you settled in, nice and comfortable. So first thing I'm going to do is walk in and just make sure you are who you say you are. And by doing that, I'm going to ask for copies of driver's license. And then I'm going to get ready to start preparing the presentation for you.
So before you go to your closing, make sure that your ID is not expired. We need a valid ID.
Yes. And I'm going to give a little plug for land title. One of the very first calls we do is we make sure when we're calling out to introduce ourselves, do you have a valid ID? And does your ID state this name? It has helped us because So, but then we're going to sit down and we're going to start doing the preparation of the documents. So we're going to start presenting. And, again, everybody's different how they present them, but I'm going to start off with going over their figures, making sure that what they disclosed and signed off on the lender side is the same as what I have on my title side. And that's the first thing I do. I show an interest rate and I show a payment. Those are what I believe to be the main huge issues, because if that interest rate isn't right or that payment's different, then that's when we might have some issues with the lender. But again, they're there, they can answer the question, and 99.999% of the time, it's always right.
Yeah, we get our closing disclosure out 3 days before closing, typically. So you've got a pretty good idea of what your rate and payment is.
I'm so grateful for the 3-dayer. I know it was hard to get used to, but it truly does help because then nobody's surprised anymore. There used to be a lot of surprises back in the day.
And then it was too late.
And then it was too late. Yeah. So then once we've signed everything and we've gone over all the numbers, we've gone over the truly, like Vern said, the truly important things, which are, the closing numbers, the note, the deed of trust.
Yeah. Those
are the main things. The rest of it is kind of the mumble jumble. We sign through them. And then once we're done, we, send those buyers off, take pictures. Everybody loves to take pictures.
Get a hold of the sign.
Yeah, you have a land title sign, Colorado ownership. So super fun. And then we'll bring in the sellers and get them signed off. And then if we need funding, we work on it. And then we send out all the money to who it needs to go to. So if there's a payoff for a seller, if there's any invoices that are owed, like insurance, things like that, we send all of those off. We record all the documents right then and there. We're called a table funding state, which means we fund that same day. as the closing.
Cool.
So table funding, same day. And then we're done.
It's amazing. How many transactions do you do a year at Land Title in Pueblo, do you think? Roundabout.
Oh, we had quite a few this year. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head.
Lots. It's lots.
Yeah, it's
It was
lots.
a lot. It was lots this year.
They never make mistakes. They're unbelievable, detail-oriented company, man. It's unbelievable. And you would just think, something's going to get lost in the mail.
So many pieces of paper, yeah.
Something's going to fall behind a desk, something, but it just never happens. They're on top of it and they handle it.
We try. We try that. We try our hardest. We try to make sure that, for me, it's a career. You know, there's a big difference between a career and a job. And this is my career. So, and in a career, the one thing you have is your name. And that's what we have here in Pueblo.
So I've won Lender of the Year a couple times.
Yeah.
I know you won Lender of the Year. Just kidding.
And closer.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask. So run through your accolades and your staff. Who do you got and what have they, let's hear about some hardware at Land Title.
Okay, so I'm very fortunate to work with great people. And I will tell you, in Pueblo, though, the nice thing about your title representatives and all of them, we've probably all worked together somewhere down the line, truly. But at Land Title, we have I think our numbers were, I can't even remember off the top of my head. I want to say truly like over 400 years experience. I know that sounds really crazy. But we have, I'm going to start with senior up at the top. So we have Mickey Catalino. She is, I think, 40 plus years. She hired me. She has won Closer of the Year 2 or 3 times. We have Debbie Grasmick, also about 30 some years in the business. She's also won Closer of the Year. We have Lisa Romo. She's going on 16 or 17 years in the business. She's won Closer of the Year. We have Rocky Padilla. She's in our office. She has just about, I think, around the same 15, 16 years.
She started the same year I did.
Yes.
So she actually has 23 years.
She's at 23. Sorry,
I know it's hard to
Rocky.
believe that I've been in the
Rocky.
business 23 when I look like I'm 28, but
Yeah. Sorry,
That doesn't
Rocky.
check out, but
So, and then we have, so then you could go to the title side. We have Melissa Martino. Melissa and I started at the same year. So she's 28 years in. So we're so fortunate about what we have. Oh, and Jen Grove too. She's new to us and she's newer to the closing side, but she came from lending as well. So we have a great, great group of closing team for us. And then, of course, we have all of our young staff coming in as well. And, my goal is really to try to get them to hopefully get the same mindset as the career versus job. I'm huge on that because I think it makes a big difference of how you work. Again, the reputation is truly what we have here in town. So
she really hires great people. I try to,
he tries to steal them.
steal them all the time. But it doesn't.
Yeah, and I don't appreciate that.
I couldn't. I mean, she got me married. Like I can't steal.
it's
from
hard
her.
to, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. No, it's a great company. It's a great staff, and
That's awesome.
I'm super fortunate.
So if you go to Land Title, you're definitely in good hands, it sounds like, with everybody.
We're gonna hopefully take care of you every which way we can.
It's good.
So, yep.
So can you guys both kind of speak to, are there any stories of like maybe a buyer or a seller that went to closing and it just tugs on your heartstrings, their reaction to getting the closing done?
Almost every week.
Yeah, truly. It's
a lot
emotional.
of tears, a lot of happy laughs, you get to see it all. Yeah, but it's, those first time home buyers are my favorite. They're so fun to work with.
They are.
It's so amazing to see the reaction and the just the pure joy when it's done and we go get those keys and get in the house.
I actually have it was one of Donna's closings, and it was a lady who purchased her first home. And we were done, and she literally just broke down in the biggest tears, but they were happy tears. And so we all start crying. So we're at the table and we're all crying. We're just so excited for her because she had a tough life. And then here she was able to buy her first home. And it's emotional.
Yeah.
You shed a few tears.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's such a cool moment. So,
And it's never too late. I just had a first time home buyer that was 76.
76.
Yeah. And put him, did a 30-year loan, got a great payment, a lot cheaper than he was renting. But, then it's never too late.
No.
Never too late. And also never too early, correct?
Well, You gotta have
Maybe a
2-year
little
job
too early.
history. So,
Well, I guess it
Other
is
than that.
sometimes too early.
And
Never too early though.
And make sure you're of age to be on that deed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there isn't too early, but 18 is pretty.
So realistically, 18 if you started working when you were 16.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Probably 20 is like the real.
Cool. That's
Yes.
awesome, guys.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming in. We appreciate you. This has been the Mortgage Minute. Once again, can we talk about how we contact you, Cassie?
Yes. Anytime you guys can call us directly at 719-545-1700. You could do it by email. You could walk into the office. We're downtown in the Thatcher building. Happy to help.
Okay. And then how do we contact you, Vern?
You can always come see us up in Eagleridge, 4601 Eagleridge Place, Suite 120. You can call 719-546-3100. All our online applications are available on every social media channel. And Ben, I think we're going to change the name of the show now.
Yeah, I think this is the end of the Mortgage Minute.
This is the end of the
That's it.
Mortgage Minute. Next episode is Clear to Close with Vern Larson.
There we go. Yeah, so we're rebranding it. I can't wait.
You've done all this hard work, but oh well.
I love it. It's great. No, this is great. And yeah, this podcast series has been awesome for me to sit through as, a young guy who wants to get into real estate in the future, right? It's been fun to listen to all of the different perspectives and all the guests you bring in. And obviously yourself, you're just such a, you know so much about everything, and everyone you bring in as well, like Cassie, for example, knows so much about and everything that's going on. Just gets me excited.
Knowledge is power. We want you guys to know exactly what you're getting into every step of the way, why we ask for what we ask for, why you need these services. So I'm really hoping that, somebody that's looking into buying a house starts at the beginning, watches through to the end. It's a great couple hours of your life.
Yeah, and you'll learn a lot. I've learned a lot recording it and editing it and all that. It's been great. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you. This has been the final episode of the Mortgage Minute. Keep your eye out for Clear to Close with Vern Larson. Check out the rest of the series. Keep your eye out for Advantage Home Mortgage and, of course, Land Title. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thanks for coming in, Cass.
Thank you. Of course.
We
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
you. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great rest of your day.